my
Of
goodness
our
gracious. We are live. We are live. Hello, everyone. If you are joining us, we would love to hear that you're here. You're seeing huge smiles on our face and some giggles maybe you heard when you jumped in. And because Jenny Reyes just hit the wrong button, we don't even know what she hit. And she literally disappeared with 13 seconds before we were ready to go live. So this is real life. This is a real show. We are live with you. And we're going to talk today about magnetic messaging. Now, you might have heard that term before. Jenny and I maybe speak about it a bit different than anyone else. So tune in with your ears and your heart wide open. What I love to say about magnetic messaging, it's part of the alignment. It's part of your truth. It's part of you stepping into your power so that everything in your energy field is congruent and aligned and homeostasis is happening, that flow state that we all love. And from that place, you speak to your ideal audience. They can hear you, they can feel you, they can resonate with you. And they're going to talk a little bit about how that happens because it is with intention. So Jenny, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself quickly and tell everybody why you're excited about today's topic.
Thanks, Debbie. And I was just making sure I didn't hit the wrong button again. But just the core, it makes for some laughs and giggles, and keeps us on our toes. But hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're tuning in from. And it's so good to be back with Debbie for this series of ours. I'm Jenny Reyes. As you can see, my title is a strategic brand integrator. I've had Your Brand Story for 2 decades now. Have been collaborating with and in Debbie's community. She cultivates a great, really, really good, place for extraordinary women and empowering you communities with, I want to say, thousands of people now. And it's just being able to shine their light, or Debbie's light shines bright on all of us, and we're able to come up and shine our light on everybody else. And so thank you, Debbie, for actually bringing that together, which is part of the message that you share about what you do and the group. And that is part of our topic today. And so when you talk about building your message and you want to attract people to you, one goes back to the first thing we said on clarity, right? Knowing who you are, knowing what you do, knowing how you want to show up in the world, and then setting that intention and taking steps to go through it, and then coming up with the way that it shows up in the world through visuals, because that's part of the messaging, through the colors, through the words, through the expressions, through all those things, those pieces of the puzzle that bring it all together. And oftentimes we think of a message as, words and phrases and sentences. It's really everything that comes together, right? Which is why it's about integrating all those pieces and having that alignment and that congruency, Debbie, that you were talking about earlier.
I love it, Jenny. I love that we never have to plan what we're going to say. We're just so aligned with each other. And I feel like what we do weaves in so beautifully together. Again, I'll mention that, I never want anyone to be the best kept secret. And there is times that people come to me and I honestly don't know what they do. They've been in my world for many, many years. I am very confused. Maybe they look like they're selling travel, but they're actually over here selling coaching. But when you look at their social media feeds, it's a little bit of everything. And I know that there's probably a story why travel is so important to them. And I want them to weave that into who they are and their offer that they're presenting. But if we don't connect the dots for people, if we don't decide what we want to be known for and what we want others to say about us when we're not in the room, we're missing a completely phase in your marketing. I mean, we're all here marketing at all times. Anytime you are sharing your mission, your purpose, your story, you're marketing.
Right. I've said that before too, Debbie, where you don't even recognize selling yourself, and you are. I mean, you don't even intend to, but people will look at you and go, oh, she has something, he has something, perhaps they can help. Perhaps there's a conversation there, and there's that instant attraction to connect. And then, are we a fit? Right? That's pretty much how it goes. And one thing I think, just going back to that whole messaging, we have to be that we have to have that discipline as well to filter what that one piece of communication or one piece of message is. And I always say to start, because often people will come back and say, well, I don't just want to isolate myself to this, or I don't want to just be known for this, because I can do so much more. Um, and it kind of brings back that analogy of the whole baby at the buffet that we had in our last call. So if you hadn't seen that, then we encourage you to go watch the replay. But essentially, it's, you have to give them one piece at a time. Otherwise, the buffet is too overwhelming. And even for yourself, just thinking of all the different messages, that's overwhelming. And so one of the things I think, Debbie, we talked about, like, how do we come at it? First, of course, you're trying to build it for yourself, but then keeping in mind, what is it that I want the audience, the one person that I'm talking to, what is it that I want them to take away when they hear it? And how will they feel, or what will they say back to me, right? And having, I think, that lens of what is it that they will tell me, and will they say, oh yeah, I felt that, or oh yes, that made sense, or what is it that you want them to say, so that that that's the right message to start. And again, it's to start, right? It's not the whole thing. And to keep doing that consistently, because again, it gets older for us before it gets older for them. But a majority of the time now, people have to hear this message 7, 8, 9, 10 times. I think now we're up to 16 before anything translates. So the repetition is great. It's good to keep that consistent.
Yeah, it's part of the trust. For one thing, people have said to me over and over again, Debbie, the one thing I know about you, you've been consistent from the very start. Yes, I've evolved. Yes, my message got wider. There was more depth in it, but I've been consistent on my tone, the way that I speak, the invitations that I give. I'm not out there trying to, like, come up with the newest shiny object as far as like how to get people into my world. Everything I do is about building trust, gathering and nurturing those people that are meant for me and my message. I'm not looking to connect with everybody for that reason. So I love that buffet analogy. And I would love to just ask you, if somebody came to you and they really said, I have these, these 10 offers, and
Right.
And I'm exaggerating on the 10. Let's even narrow it down to the 3 to 5, which
Yeah.
we should have, and say, I have these 10 offers, but I'm not really converting anybody.
Right.
What would your first questions back to that person be?
I would probably ask, well, who is it that you want to attract first? Like, I always put that caveat of first, because all these offers that you might have are valid, right? And there is a person out there that you can serve. But as you are being more public about certain things, you can really only start with just the one message first, right? Who do you want to attract first? What are their pain points? Who's that idea? That's why it's called ideal, because there will be, if once you're zoned in on that and you start talking about that, then there's really only one offer or one message that fits, right? And that's the attraction point. They get in your world, you're able to create that transformation, and you're able to get some results for them and for yourself. And then they can say, well, now I trust you, I like you, I want to keep working with you, how else can you help me, oh, what, hey, I have something else on the left or on the right or up or down or however it looks like, right? You might get people that are not necessarily your ideal audience, but maybe they're off to the left and you're talking to them and they're like, well, I already have that. I'm not sure that that's a fit. Um, you can talk to them about your other offers because now it's not something that's very public facing. And I think that's the distinction. It's like, well, I know I have this, I don't publicly say it. But this is what I can do, and you're still working, because at the end of the day, people are looking to build prosperity, build their income, build their freedom. That's why they do these things. But it kind of is a dance of this is really, and the discipline of this is really how I want to be known in the world. And by the way, there are other ways that we can work together, just depending on the conversations you're having that are not very public facing. If that makes sense at all.
Oh,
Dance
it really
discipline.
does.
Love it.
It really does make sense to me. And I want to just put it back into a language that I understand. So
Yeah.
again, we go from the outcome. If you
Mm-hmm.
know your ideal audience so well, you know their fears, you know their objections, you know their pain points, you know what they need.
Mm-hmm.
That is the thing you're doing first. What is the thing they need?
Yeah.
The awareness, the choice, the empowerment, the action steps in order to move into what you could potentially help them with.
Mm-hmm.
If we go over here and we're like, let's lead you right here, but you are not aware you even have that struggle, you are not aware that this is possible, there's a lot of feeding into the nurturing and the awareness stage first. So I love that you said, who do you want to attract first?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, the clarity piece is at this stage in their journey, what do they need?
What do they
What are they telling you they need? And then what are you translating it into as a resource, as a solution that you
Right.
can provide them?
Right. Yeah. I think that pretty much sums all of that up. And I love that you put that it's a dance in the discipline, because, it is, you can dance and that's a little bit more of a creative expression, but there is a discipline to it. And I'm probably, again, not the right person to talk about dance and discipline, because we do have somebody in our community, Ashley. I don't know, Ashley, if you're listening, she has that framework that is part of her message, that life is a dance, you choreograph your life. And it's a perfect example because she actually has come through our LMA program, our Leadership Momentum Accelerator, just fine-tuned a little bit of that, and has I believe has grown her community, and has increased her own sales. I don't want to speak for Ashley, but yeah, that came to mind when I saw it. And I mean, to be able to actually perform this dance, there is a discipline to it. There's got to be that filtering. You can't put all this choreography in one, and then it just becomes like a mess of a dance. Whereas the beauty of that dance is really in the refinement and the fine tuning of it. Yeah, Ashley,
It's
in.
sorry to interrupt you, but it's
No,
so
you're
true.
good.
And it's so clear in us because we did just take Ashley through the 12 weeks. So we really understand, where she felt separated in her offers, and we helped her tie those together and make them flow so that it's easily a journey for her clients. And where do they choose to be at this point, and what's next for them if they choose to continue on. And this alignment in you, the person that's making the offer, has to feel good, because you know what they need, and you know that how you're serving them is so worth it. It's so worth it. It'll transform their life if they can take this. So the first thing is about serving their need, and then not having that distraction on serving everybody, but what lights you up, and what is your zone of genius, and what is your special sauce.
Right.
Because we could naturally see that Ashley's dance, she's a tap dance teacher and instructor and all the things, and has the stuff. We could easily see that's the core of who she is, but in that she has so much more.
Right.
So go back and to not confuse everybody on like, okay, so messaging. Let's let's just really focus in on something that you said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
How does the audience feel?
How does
How are they connecting to you and your offer?
yeah.
Is there an invitational or is there a shaming when you in your messaging? Like your tone has to come out as real,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like if I was sitting there going, you should do this and you should do that, you guys would be like, what's wrong with Debbie today? That's not her normal way. That's not the way. It's very invitational for you to witness yourself and
Yeah.
then choose from an empowered state.
Right. Right. Yes. The tone matters. The words also will matter. Like again, pieces of your puzzle that resonate with that audience, and it's true. It's of course true for you first, and then it resonates with that ideal one. Right. We always talk about the one and just focusing on the one, because once that's clear, then it will be attractive for others who are feeling the same way. Right. And that's kind of the and it's always about the end goal. Like, what do you want to do with this? It might be a pretty message, the words might feel pretty, but then does it really land? And oftentimes in the past week or so, I've had those conversations when they're going, oh, we want to do this is what we want to put out as a campaign, as a a moment of this. And I just sit there and I go, well, if this is your target audience, what's a day in their life like? What are they doing, and how does that fit? Like, how do you become a part of it without them having to distract or disrupt from their life? Because that's how you are relevant, is that you're not necessarily taking away from their normal. And so what can you do for them? And I always try to put it in the words of the target audience, right? Like, you have to say it as if they're saying it back to you. Because if that sounds normal, then you know that you're in their zone, right? But if it doesn't feel like it's something that they would say, then there might just be a little bit of a disjoint there. And I know I'm looking at the clock, Debbie. We can keep
No,
we can keep doing this,
we
and we've
could
got
keep
somewhere else
doing
to
it.
be.
Yeah. Yeah, no. So Jenny and I like to keep these for about 20 minutes, and I messed up. I actually wanted to mention to everybody before, when we first jumped on, that we're actually getting off of this live and we've been invited to go teach marketing and our beliefs in the leadership momentum blueprint inside of Lori Phillips' group. And so I'm going to drop that link in there because you can come on over, join the group, and watch us live over there for a little bit deeper dive on our actual blueprint. But also, the last thing that I wanted to say, and then I'll turn it back to you, Jenny, is that next week,
Mm-hmm.
August 28th at this time, we're going to be actually live together in a free masterclass blueprint. We're actually going to go through and have two of the people that have been live with us during this series. We've been having applications, and we'll drop the link in there for applications for hot seats. So
Yep.
Jenny is going to actually go through your social media branding and make sure there's congruency across all of the ways that you're showing up. And I'm going to demo what I do and how I help people get clarity on who they are and who they serve live. And so it's free for anybody to join, but two special experiences for the people that actually get to tell us their business. So Jenny, back to you.
That's exciting. And no, I wanted to make sure, like, we are, of course, respectful of everybody's time. And so, as you said, we have so much to share and say. And I think, Debbie, you and I have gotten to this rhythm of when we get into a room, we can just go back and forth, and then we lose track of time. But we want to keep to it. So we are to be continued, or you can catch us in Lori's group. And Lori has been so gracious to have both of us there, and that's awesome at the Be Awesome group. So that's a cool message in itself. There you go. And then again, the hot seat. So thank you again, Debbie, for kind of rounding us out and doing that.
Yeah, Jenny, I posted earlier today, just so that we don't like run off. I just wanted to just say thank you to anybody that has been watching these lives. And then I think it was yesterday that I posted on LinkedIn, a conversation that me and you have had, and it was
Yes.
myth. And it got a lot of attention. And I mean, it's true. I did not know what branding was. And when somebody told me you need to have your own personal brand, and then I'm like, oh, so I need to go out and do this. And then I did it. And they're like, yeah, but now your brand and your personal brand is not the same. And I was like, oh
Right.
my Lord,
Yeah.
what does all this mean? This is not my zone of genius. However, Jenny, who it is an expert in this field, naturally, like how it all come together is she recognized that I was doing some of the things naturally,
Yeah.
and that I had a piece of the clarity puzzle and the helping people feel aligned and really step into their power and their vision in a different way. And so, Jenny, I don't know if you want to speak to that, because that's really how we come together and created this
Yeah.
opportunity for
And
leadership.
I do love that, Debbie, because I mean, the way that sometimes, and again, it's another longer conversation, but how some people always talk about branding and marketing, it can vary just depending on how they've experienced it. But the way I think I like to view it is that it is bringing everything together, right? And it's not something that you don't already have. It's actually bringing it out from you and making sure that it shows up in the way that you intend. And that's kind of how we do it. And it shows up consistently in all these other parts, right? How does it all connect together? You have two communities. There's a Shine Circle membership. There's also the Debbie Prediger whole brand piece. Like, how does that all build upon one another so that everybody who needs to be where they need to be at that point in time can find what they need, get the results, and then they can move through and up and down and sideways however they want to. And it all works, right? Because you are, again, multi-talented, multi-passionate, and you're able to help many different people. You've just gotten to this stage, probably 5-10 steps ahead of most of the people that we see. But that you started with one, and I think that's kind of where people kind of get tripped up. They're like, well, I want to be here, but there's the discipline again, the dance and the discipline of, I know this is the bigger picture. Again, it goes back to our clarity 2 sessions ago, of I want to be here, but I've got to start here and I've got to make my way down this way. And sometimes it'll go off on a tangent and you'll know that's not the road. So anyway, to be continued, lots more. And I love that post that you shared. Thank you. That's a whole masterclass in itself, I think.
It truly is. I don't know if people realize what a big topic this is, and also that having the right person that can integrate, can bring all pieces of you to the forefront is the most important thing in business in general. Like, that's a business masterclass. Like, don't go piece it together with this person, and nobody talks. So having somebody like you that is the brand integrator, it is so valuable. You're definitely going to go further faster, which is what we're all looking for, but also with ease and grace. When somebody truly gets you, it's completely different conversation, feel, energy, everything. So as Jenny said, to be continued. We will come back here and drop all of the links that we promised you. And we will also make sure that if you do want to join us, it's at 1:45 the hour. So, in a few minutes here, 20 minutes, that we'll be in Lori's group. So enough time for you to get your request in and her to accept you and see us live. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.